Okay, hello. Today I'm going to make the Cricut foam floral card, which is part of the Access subscription. And I hadn't really worked with the fun foam too much, so I wanted to try something using this distressed fun foam. So I found this project and everything was included, so I didn't have to pay for anything. So I'm just gonna, I've already cut all my pieces, made sure I used my deep cut blade and my strong grip mat to cut the foam. So this is going to form the two flowers. And then I have two brads that I'm going to use to attach them. I've already cut out this pretty little delicate piece that's gonna go on the front. Some leaves. A little bit of an embellishment for the front of it, the card itself. It says to go ahead and use glue, as well as I have my hot glue gun here off to the side. So I'm going to put this together now. So there's a score line on the top of this card. I know it's going to be really hard to see in here, but it's because it's going to fold over the top of the card. You can use your bone score piece, or I'm just using my fingers to go across the top like that. So it's going to go across like this, and then I'm going to glue it down to the top of the card like this. And for this, actually, I think I'm going to use my tape runner. So I'm going to put some glue on the back of this. Oops, upside down. And then I'm just going to put that onto the top of there. Try to center it as best as possible. There you go. Put that down like that. It's not perfectly as straight as I would like it, so I'm going to pull it back up. Since this is a thicker cardstock that I used, it should work pretty well. I'm going to set that down there. And this little piece here, I'm also going to run some tape on there just to make sure that that stays down. So you can run that across the top. Any excess glue will just come right off. Okay, so that's the card base on the front. Next, I'm going to kind of try to figure out where I want to put the placement of this little piece here. So it kind of sits on here like this. I think that'll probably be a good spot. So for this, I'm going to get out and use my zigzag two-way glue pen. Actually, one's too big. I have two of those. I'm going to use the finer tip one. I'm just going to flip that over, and I'm going to do this, since it is so fine, on a piece of scrap paper here. And I'm just going to put some glue all the way around these tiny little pieces. I find that this glue works really well for these little tiny intricate cuts. If you just kind of dab it on there. It's not super sticky, but it's enough that's going to hold it in place. So I'm going to just go ahead and, let's see, I think I'm going to put it a little bit like this. Maybe off to the side is kind of how it looks in the picture there. And just sort of set it down on there like that. Give it a good press. Make sure that I've gotten all of the areas that I've wanted glued down. These two little leaves, I'm going to go ahead and fold in half just to give them a little bit of a score down the center. One. Do the same with the second one. Like that. Okay, so they're ready. Now, the hot glue gun is where I'm going to need to start these flowers. So on this little tab here, I'm just going to put a dab of hot glue, and I'm going to hold it to the back like that. So it kind of forms a little flower cup. You always get the hot glue on your fingers. All right, I'm gonna set that down, let that dry for a second. I'm gonna do the same with the second piece on that little tab there. Glue it over, hold it for a second without trying to burn myself. Okay. Hold that down, leave those two little pieces. Now, this, I've made these roses before, but never in the fun foam. So this ought to be interesting. I'm gonna see how these roll up. So I kind of did it once off camera, and it was rolled a little too tight. So this, you don't really need to use a quilling tool or the tweezers because the foam is so thick it kind of rolls and stays together pretty easily. And get a little piece of glue stuck in there. So you just kind of roll, roll, roll till you get to the end, and then there, of course, you have that little tab on the bottom that you can glue into place. Kind of want to let it loosen up just a little bit. Try to hold it down because I'm going to put that brad in the center, and I think that looks pretty good. Oh, it came out there a little bit, so I'm just going to go ahead and I put a little hot glue. I'm going to go down through the center on this one because I am going to put a brad in there, so you won't be able to see the glue, and I think that will help hold it a little bit easier. And then it'll just kind of hold it in place. Oh, maybe not. Just hold that down until that starts to dry. I hate these little strings of hot glue that you get. I'm not a huge fan of working with it unless it's absolutely necessary. Just gonna blow on that a little bit, let that get set. We're gonna set that down. Uh-oh, this one came apart. So let's hold it back together. There we go. Then these two actually are gonna glue together. I think I'm going to, in the picture they have the leaves kind of lined up, but I think I like the look of it staggered a little bit better. So I'm gonna kind of flip it like that. So I'm just gonna put another dab of hot glue down in the center, kind of wrap it around there. Just trying to leave the hole open in the middle for the brad. And there we go. So there we have our two flowers. I'm going to pick out some of that glue later on with some tweezers because there's a little bit of hot glue showing. So basically now I've chosen some green brads. I'm going to put this brad down through the center of the flower where there's the little holes there. So I think that'll look good. And then as far as placement, I don't think you have to be really too picky. I'm just gonna kind of put it down, and I'm just gonna poke a hole directly through the card using the brad itself. I find that to be the easiest thing to do sometimes. Well, maybe not. This card is a little hard, so instead I'm gonna use my weeding tool and then just poke a little hole through the center there. There you go. That worked pretty well. Put that through. There's my brad through the other side, and I'm going to split that and open that up. There we go. So that's one of the little flowers. This one, all right, we're going to put this brad also down through the center. Okay, that's down through the center. Oh, that's cute. And again, I'm going to use my weeding tool to determine where I kind of want to place this. Guess we'll go low on it, so I'm just going to poke a little hole right there. There we go. Push it through. There we go, got it through. And on the other side, we're going to separate it. Uh-oh. I see one of the sides of the brad, but that's okay. It'll hold it in place. And there we go. You can put a, oh, we have to glue these on too, which I guess I'll just use the hot glue since I already have that out. So I'll just put a dab of hot glue on the end of each of these. And we'll sort of just kind of place those in here. Hold it down. That's one. I like the placement of that. Get some of those out of there. The larger leaf. A little dab of glue on that. Put some on the bottom too. Can't hurt. And we'll put that one in there as well. Just like that. And there we go. We have our little craft foam card. Inside, I would probably put some other pieces of paper over top of this that I'll glue in just to kind of hide the brads and the top portion of this. But that was just a very fairly simple little card to do. You can take a piece of little ribbon and put it down here like they have in the picture in the Make It Now. But that's the foam floral card. Fun. Have fun. Bye.